Hello everyone and welcome to an incredible game that happened today in the Superbet Blitz tournament. It's the first day of Blitz and it's Wesley versus Anish Giri. Now, this game was sent to me by Ozarov. He said it was an incredible game, an immortal one, if you will. And okay, we have to be very careful when we call a game immortal when we're discussing Blitz because, I mean, it's Blitz, so, anything can happen. But it's so the game is so enjoyable that we could call like a mini Blitz immortal game now, and I imagine that Anish, as he's very active on Chessable, he's creating courses that playing games like these really makes a difference and really improves the sales on his Chessable courses. Now you'll see what I mean by this. Let's check it out. Wesley has the white pieces and he opens with pawn to e4. And yes, we do have the Sicilian defense, as you guys probably already imagined. Pawn to c5, knight f3, d6, and now bishop to b5. Wesley goes for the canal attack. And the bishop to d7 is the most common way to handle it. Here we have knight to d7 by Anish. We have d4. Wesley strikes in the center. C captures on d4. And now you don't have to worry about knight attacking the queen when you recapture in the center with the queen. Like you would, for example, in a knight drop, you can simply capture with the queen. And the queen is now very nicely centralized. Pawn to a6 with bishop back to e2, and now knight g2 f6. Anish just continues development. We have castles and pawn to e5 now chases away the queen, and you have to keep the queen somewhere defending the e4 pawn, and the e3 square is the best for that. So knight to c5, now attacking the e4 pawn, and now knight to c3. Now the pawn is nicely defended, and just bishop to e7. Anish now says I might even be interested in castling here, and though I'm sure you guys are thinking let's just kick away that knight with pawn to b4. Well, this is one of those positions where b4 will not, in fact, grant you an upper hand, because after knight e6 is just really great for black, and b4 doesn't seem to complement white's position all that much. So instead, we have pawn to a4, stopping b5, and now we have castles, and this is a new move in the position. There is a known knight to g4 attacking the queen, which was played in 2017 between Jadran Koplencha and Ante Brkic, and was played in Croatia in Zagreb. The game ended in a draw, but here we have castles by Anish, and it is now as of move 10 that we have a completely new game. So Wesley continues with knight to d2. Now he might even have some ideas of advancing the f-pawn. Also, the knight can now come to c4, maybe in the future to e3 to d5. Maybe you can gain more control over the d5 square. But knight to g4, attacking the queen, and now we have a trade. Captures, and now pawn to h3 with bishop back to e6 and pawn to b3. And it seems like Wesley fixed all of his positional problems, but it's not as clear. Rook to c8. Now the knight on c3 has been weakened. We have bishop to b2 and now pawn to f5, and you really can't be all that happy with white here. I mean, you should always have some sort of a small edge with white, but here you just don't feel it. White doesn't have any of the usual ideas here. You don't have f4 at any point. You don't really gain anything by putting a knight to d5. c3 has already been weakened, and Anish still has the bishop pair. The rooks are excellently placed on c8 and f8. The knight is beautiful on c5. So if anyone is to be preferred here, it is definitely black. Whether it's any sort of real advantage, it's probably merely easier to play this with black. So here, you don't want to capture. If you trade, then you give black too much central control. Also, now the c2 pawn will become very weak. So instead, we have rook f to d1 by Wesley, and now pawn to f4. Anish continues advancing his pawn, queen to e2, and now queen to e8, saying that he wants to bring the queen over to g6 and prepare pawn to f3. So here, pawn to f3 would probably be the safest move to play, but Wesley goes knight to d5, and usually if you can land a knight on d5 against the Sicilian, your life will be good. But if black can just trade without any problems, then it should be great for black. So here, bishop captures on d5, e captures on d5, and queen to g6. Now, okay, you don't really have f3 as the knight is guarding the f3 square, but you have to be very careful. Here, queen to g4 is the move you should play. Just offer a queen trade. Whether black will accept or not, probably black will capture the c2 pawn, but it's just something that you have to do. Then maybe bishop to a3, and you play this weird position, but black will always be better. However, here Wesley played pawn to b4, which is a move that almost always works and almost always improves white's position, but that is no case here. And here Anish has a brilliant maneuver in the position. So feel free to pause the video here and try to find the absolute best move for Anish while I give you a couple of seconds. Think Fischer's the game of the century while you are solving this one. Have at it. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding this mysterious maneuver. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is knight captures on a4. All right, Fischer didn't capture on a4 in his game of the century, but he did offer a knight, a full knight on a4. So that's why I thought you guys might pick up on that. But the idea is that now you will win 2 pawns for the piece, and you will also have incredible pressure on the position. But the real reason why you're doing it is because rook captures on c2 will come with tempo, and then you will be able to play f3 without the knight being able to move. That's Anish's idea behind the knight captures on a4. So you have to capture. There's really nothing better. Rook captures on a4. Rook captures on c2 also comes with an attack on the bishop. So now you are ready to execute f3, bishop to c1, and now pawn to f3, attacking the queen, and also checkmate is being threatened on g2. Queen to f1, only move that saves the game, and now bishop to h4. And here, it's just really hard to find a playable move for Wesley. For example, if pawn to g4, looks like you might be able to play this, just rook to f4. And now, not a lot to do here. e4, e3 is coming. Also, rook captures on g4 in some lines. It's just a terrible position for white. Instead, pawn to g3 was played, but now Anish just continues happily sacrificing. Bishop captures on g3, f captures, and now pawn to e4. Here, the barbarian move, queen captures on g3, that pretty much everyone would play, is in fact the only winning move here. And I will just show it because it's such a fun line, but for a blitz game I would say impossible to calculate, because look at this, queen captures on g3 check, king h1, and now you have to play rook to f6. Of course you want to go for rook to h6 and rook captures on h3. If ever queen to g1 or the queen moves from the defense of the h3 pawn, you're just going to play queen captures on h3. So here white would have to find pawn to b5, which gains access to h4, and now after rook to h6, pawn to h4, rook captures on h4 with check, rook captures, queen captures with check, and now after king to g1, this spectacular pawn to f2 check. Now, who finds this in a blitz game? I do not know, but it is incredible. And now, if you capture with the queen, then just queen to g4 check picks up the rook on d1. And of course, if king to g2, doesn't really matter. You're going to play rook to c3, and now there's no defense against rook to g3. Whatever you play, let's say queen to h1, rook to g3 with check, king captures on f2, and now rook to h3 opens up a discovery and wins the white queen. So I mean, that's brutal, but it is blitz. So pawn to f4 was played by Anish, and now rook to a3. Knight captures on e4, sort of still holds, but I mean, it doesn't hold. It loses the game, but it is the best way to defend. Give back some material, get rid of those pawns. But in the game, rook to a3 was played, and now comes queen captures on g3 with check, king to h1, and now rook f to c8 by Anish. Rook f6 to h6 is still perfectly fine. As okay, the bishop is here, but if the knight ever moves, you're just gonna get checkmated. So rook to f6 still works here. Anish opts for rook f to c8, and now we have queen to g1, offering a queen trade, and also hoping for queen captures on h3, even though this is also winning, but Anish plays an even greater move, and that is rook captures on c1. He sort of sacrifices the queen, but if you take the queen, you just lose all of the material. For example, queen captures on g3, rook captures on d1 with check, king h2, now the knight falls with check, now king goes back, rook to c1 check, and now you have to part with the queen as well. Queen to g1, you can even play rook d to d1, and that's pretty much it. Queen captures, rook captures. Okay, now both players have a rook, but black is up 4 pawns, so we're not going to discuss this any further. So after rook captures on c1, rook to a1 was played, but it is merely prolonging the game. Queen captures on h3 with check, queen to h2, we have queen captures on h2 with check, king captures, and now rook captures on a1. Rook captures on a1, and now rook to c2, and he was in this position on move 32 that Wesley so resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Anish wins a spectacular game, and like I said, I imagine his chessable course sales are going through the roof now, as he does have some, insights to offer on the Sicilian defense. Here you resign because you will also lose the knight, and then the pawns are just unstoppable. You can try to defend, but then e3, and the knight cannot move, of course. Once the king moves, you're even going to play rook captures on d2, threaten the rook. White can never trade here. Once the rook moves, you're just going to play f2, and of course, black is completely winning. You have too much material. So brilliant game by Anish. Wesley also played an incredible game, but it's hard to say if it was more difficult to defend this position or to find all the winning ideas that were present in this position. But yeah, that's why I thought that you guys would figure out the winning idea if I mentioned Bobby Fischer's game of the century, knight to a4. But yeah, sometimes even if you can't calculate, maybe just knowing about the game of the century will give you maybe an idea to try and sacrifice the knight on a4, and then everything just starts happening all at once. But yeah, you have to pin the knight on d2 to gain access to f3, and then of course you can't calculate all of this, but you go with the flow, and you feel good, and good things happen. That's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Very nicely done by Anish. After 9 rounds of blitz, Duda is still leading, but Magnus caught up to him. Magnus is only trailing by half a point, and I believe Magnus won like 6 of his last games that he played. I can even check. I don't want to trick you guys. Let me just check real quickly. There we go. So let's check the standings. Duda is leading with 17.5 points. Magnus trailing with 17 points, followed by Wesley So with 16.5 points. So if Anish didn't play this brilliant game against Wesley would be co-leading with Duda. But there you have it. Then you have Infort Levon with 16, MBL with 15.5, Rapport with 13.5, Anish with 10.5, Bogdan Daniel Dak with 9.5, and so 9.5 has Kirill Shevchenko and Radoslav Wojtaszek. So there you have it. Those were the standings. We'll see what happens in day 2. Will Magnus continue his onslaught, or will Duda be able to remain in the lead? We'll see what happens. Definitely an exciting tournament, but I'm of course hoping for more games like these. That's the game. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank John Shirtliff, golfsoftware.com, Paul Hinamund, Revshing Reptiles YouTube, and Goran Vodopia for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. Really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of everything that's happening in the chess world, and of course checking up on your wonderful suggestions. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.